You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Tip of the cap to the guys over at Go247. They took a stab at sort of organizing the math around LSU's roster currently. And I was curious because there's been attrition, and there's going to be bowl opt-outs, and there have been transfers, and there's going to be guys that go pro. And so they kind of took a stab at what it's going to look like come the end of this season and the draft declarations. So here's ultimately what it boils down to. As of December 8th, they count 8 players that have entered the transfer portal. So LSU's roster minus those 8 players, they're projecting Stingley, Cade York as early declarations for the draft, along with Damone Clark, Ed Ingram, Micah Baskerville, who would go pro, although they could have an extra year because of COVID, but would leave. And that puts the roster at 59 players, okay? So 59. And they're assuming Chasen Hines, Todd Harris, Sony Fanu, and Avery Atkins all come back. They're also assuming Josh Williams, the running back, Jack Mashburn, the tight end, are on scholarship. And they go so far as to say, look, if you add 32 potential newcomers, which is the 25, and then the 1-for-1 7 transfers over the 25, that's 32. If you're at 32, that would put you 3 over the NCAA limit of 85. Now, there's no guarantee that LSU is going to sign 32. And I also am not so sure that they nailed it with all of the guys returning, because I don't think LSU is done with attrition. I think you're going to have more enter the transfer portal. And I think there's going to be more players that decide to go pro. Like the Chasen Hines, Todd Harris, Sony Fanua, Avery Atkins. There's no guarantee all those guys are back, number one. Number two, like, I'm assuming Ty Davis Price is going pro. That seems to be the general thought, that he's going to leave and go pro. You could always have that conversation, and maybe Frank Wilson has a convo with him. It tells him why it's beneficial to come back. But some guys just have different motivations, and they're just ready to go start their pro career, and maybe that's where Ty Davis Price is. That's one guy. Keyshawn Butte is a guy who is injured. He's going into his money year, doesn't know who his quarterback's going to be, doesn't know who the OC is going to be. They're going to have to do work to make sure he's back on this roster next year. And then on top of that, specifically just looking at the bowl game, they're saying here, so if the roster's at 59, you're not including opt-outs or injuries. So you have a number of players presently that are injured for the year, that aren't returning this year. Someone like Joe Evans, right? Joe Evans is out for the year. He's been done for the season, but he'll be back next year. Major Burns, he's out, but he'll be back next year. So that 59 goes down to 58 to 57, and that's not all, right? Anthony Bradford is out, 56. Do you see where I'm going? Like, you start getting that number lower and lower, and that's before we've even talked about the potential for bowl opt-outs, which there will be. There's going to be guys who decide they're not going to play in this bowl game, either declaring for the draft or they're going to get ready for the Senior Bowl or whatever. And I bring this up because and then the other thing, I think you will have more players transfer. You're going to have bowl opt-outs. And remember, this is finals week, and you always have guys at the end of a semester who maybe didn't take care of their academics. And given the state of LSU football, it would not be surprising to any if they were negligent academically, as we've already seen with some guys. Like another guy we didn't mention is John Emery. I mean, John Emery is on scholarship, so take Take him. That's another one away that's not eligible to play, but is on scholarship. Is he back next year? Certainly not eligible for the bowl game. My point is, y'all, last year with COVID, the SEC set the minimum number of players that you had to play a game at 53. You remember that? You had to have 53 players. Now, bowl game is different. It's not an SEC scheduled contest, but you had to have 53, and remember there were other regulations. There were other sort of parameters. You had to have a quarterback on the roster. You had to have 7 offensive linemen. You had to have 4 defensive linemen. My point is, a couple of guys didn't take care of their business academically, becoming eligible for the bowl game. You have a few more guys hit the transfer portal. Some guys opt out of the bowl game. Like, you're going to dip below 53. If that's the case, do you go play a bowl game with 45 players? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's somewhat unprecedented. If you've accepted a bowl bid and then you end up not having enough players, what do you do? I don't know. Do you take a team of walk-ons to go play in the bowl game? I mean, the starting quarterback could very well be walk-on Matt O'Dowd. If Nussmeier doesn't play, I mean, so that's another one. Take Nussmeier. If he's not playing because he's preserving his redshirt year, that's one fewer that you have available for the bowl game. Do you see where I'm getting at here? Like, you are dangerously close to not having enough players to compete in this bowl game. Y'all, I'm not sitting here making any bold predictions because I don't know. I think it's a wholly unparalleled type situation. But LSU's numbers, I'm just telling you, like, file this away over the next few weeks as you learn more about bowl opt-outs, more guys entering the transfer portal, potential academic casualties, which happen every year around this time, guys who didn't take care of their business academically in the fall, who are ineligible for a bowl game. LSU's going to dip below 53 players available for the bowl game. Do they play? I'm just telling you, keep an eye on it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.